Classes can fill up quickly, so enroll today at icangotocollege.com.
And paid for by Open Jar Concepts. Attention, this is an important notice for anyone who has used a Philips CPAP machine or ventilator. In June 2021, the FDA announced that Philips issued a recall affecting nearly 4 million CPAP, BiPAP, and ventilator units. The recall was issued due to health risks associated with the foam utilized for sound reduction, which may degrade over time into harmful chemicals. The Philips CPAP recalled devices can potentially result in injuries including kidney, liver, or heart damage, cancer, or severe skin, ear, nose, or throat inflammation. If you or a loved one used a Philips CPAP, BiPAP, or ventilator and later suffered an injury, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Call us now at 800-416-6434. That's 800-416-6434. Again, 800-416-6434. And paid for by Omega Auto Care. Attention eligible vehicle owners.
For Vicks when you were little. Now that you're a parent, Vicks Children's Botanicals Cough Syrup is what you reach for to help soothe coughs and clear mucus without drugs or high fructose corn syrup. That's because it contains natural marshmallow root and ivy leaf to help soothe coughs and clear mucus associated with hoarseness, dryness, and irritants. So look for Vicks Children's Botanicals Cough Syrup, day or night formula. Please do with the drug and evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Okay, confession time. I just finished back-to-school shopping. Nothing like the last minute, huh? Gold to the rescue. I got 25% off a JanSport backpack for my son, $17.99 sew jeans for my daughter, and 50% off Levi's for both kids. Levi's, can you believe it? I even got $10 off because I spent $25 and picked up cold cash. So, yeah, sometimes procrastination pays off. Flex Style, 10 off 25 offer in September 6th. Levi's coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store closer for details.
At amazing prices. Right now, Crayola 12-count colored pencils and 10 plus 2 Crayola marker bonus packs and big round stick ballpoint pen 10 packs are just 97 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school. You'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back-to-school today and get more than ready for school. Pens 918, limit 30 on Crayola. Big pens in store only.
When kids have trouble sleeping,
Mom, I can't sleep. Dad, just one more story?
for nights like this, try Vicks Pure Z's Kids. Our great tasting gummies are specially formulated for kids with a unique blend of botanicals and a low dose of melatonin to support their natural sleep cycle. Best of all, they're drug-free and non-habit forming. Help your child fall asleep naturally with Pure Z's Kids Gummies. Consult with a doctor before use. For ages 4 and up.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton at Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And the good old boys around the country, I want to say bienvenido to all of our listeners and Latin America, also across the pond, and London, England, as well as Paris, France. Of course, we love you in Canada and Africa, the Big C tribe. But there's no one we love more than the good old boys around the country. In the land of the free and the home of the brave on the beautiful September the 3rd, 2021, Gone to the Porches. Bonjour, the Vidi Vidi Vici. Welcome to the show. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. If you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars never stop arriving. Also, all around the world, say Google or Alexa, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors. You will hear welcome to the show. I will introduce myself as the Sports Universe, and I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon and Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. You can also follow Big C Sports on iHeartRadio Podcast, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Podchaser, Spreaker, a lot of good old applications, and I really do appreciate it. But when you follow Big C Sports, you can also pause. But I'll never pause on our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know, any veterans going through any kind of issues, pick up the phone and get them some help. All you got to do is call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. If you can text, just text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.org. veteranscrisis.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and you can definitely get some help for our veterans and their loved ones. Also, very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on Dish TV, DirecTV, AT&T Uverse, TV of the first place San Francisco Giants. Yeah, we got them back. We got them back now. I think we're about a half game in first place, neck and neck with the Dodgers, all for 11 war. When you reach out to them, just tell them Big C sent you the gold and silver, looking to recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers all over this great country to help put people back to work, just like McDonald's does it. Carter Leases are doing it. Sports teams are doing it. Watch TV and real estate work for you. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. If you're looking for opportunities in real estate, go to bigcsports.pacwm.com. Most of the loans are underwritten by Rocket Mortgage and United Wholesale Mortgage, the number 1 and 2 lenders in the country on the wholesale side. Also, I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, "Let there be light." Open your cell phones and say it. Play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see our apps pop up from all over the world. And I really do appreciate the way things are going with Big C Sports. Also, I want to say this segment is sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% on your game. That means it tastes great with the Big C Burger. It is a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? It's all fair, and Leavenworth goes great with the Big C Burger. I want to say welcome to the show, Big C Sports, ESPY-nominated Big C Sports Podcast. Why are we ESPY-nominated on this beautiful football kickoff weekend, Labor Day weekend coming up, wishing everybody nothing but the best. Big C Sports Podcast, no scripts. Yeah, obviously, I know, I've heard the feedback. Yeah, it's obvious, Charlton, but seriously, no scripts. You can try this at home. No teleprompters, no three-way teleprompters, no producer in the ear. I am the producer. So you want to complain? Write a letter to the producer. It's all fair in Level War. I always honor God. In Genesis 1 verse 3, God said, "Let there be light." Also want to say every show I pay homage to my son Malcolm for providing me stats. Also at times my daughter Daisy, and at times Big C. It's all fair in Level War. Why Big C Sports ESPY nominated? When you think about it, number 1, I produce shows. Number 2, I direct topics. Number 3, I broadcast the shows. Number 4, I do all the sound effects. Number 5, I do all the commercials outside of what the agency does. Number 6, I do the stats. I provide all the stats. And so if anything's right or wrong, just blame the producer. It's all fair in Level War. That would be number 7. I do storytelling. Here's Johnny. We've all heard the storytelling before, the great Jack. Also, I quote Bible verses as well. And then I upload every show to over 15 multiple podcast applications all over the country and then all over the world. And then number 4, I upload to 4 TV podcast applications. Big C Sports is the only sports show in the universe that says Genesis 13:15, "For all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever." The book of James 4:2, "We have not because we ask not." So make sure you ask. No matter what you're doing, you got to ask. And you got to always realize there's always going to be somebody that wants to sing the song. It's called "Take These Broken Wings and Learn to Fly Again and Let Me Be So Free." And when taking broken wings, never let anybody break your wings. There's always someone trying to break your wings. Avoid negative people. They always find a way to try to show up, but you just got to avoid negative people no matter what happens. Always somebody trying to let the air out of your balloon, but don't let the air out of your own balloon. That would not make any sense if you let the air out of your own balloon. I had a story before I get into some football. There's some people that like to go hang gliding, and they jump out of airplanes, and they just have the parachute. So there's a Northern California, there's a town that they will go take you up into the sky, I guess about 15,000 feet or 10,000 feet, and then they come down where you can go hang gliding. But on every one of those hang gliding, would you believe they give you a parachute? And then if you decide to do it, make sure that you're not hanging out with somebody who wants to take your parachute off before you jump. That would not be a good landing if that makes sense to you. There's always people wanting to take your parachute off before you jump. Just have them put it in writing. That's put it in writing. It's all fair and level work. Got a lot of good stuff going on in the world of the sports universe, from high school football all around the country. You know, I love Big C Sports Friday Night Lights. Everybody's looking forward to college football games. What a game last night with University of Central Florida and then Boise State University. What a comeback win by Central Florida. I said it would be a tough game for Boise State. They have a lot of guys coming back that are not seasoned players. In Florida, Central Florida had a lot of good players too. All fair and love and war. I want to highlight some of the Friday Night Lights. Let's get ready to rumble all over the country. A lot of high schools are kicking off the football season, and I hope that everybody stays safe. You gotta stay safe. Please, no drinking and driving, and don't let your friends drive. Friends, do not let friends drive. That's not necessary. Don't let it happen. Number 19, South Lake Carroll. They had erased a 35-17 deficit in the final 19 points to beat Rockwell Heath, 36-35. When you talk about some of the top high school football programs all over the country, a lot of big games happening. The biggest high school football game on this week's schedule. And when you think about it, a lot of good old boys are into this game too. We have number 25 matchups featuring number 9, Bishop Gorman of Las Vegas, Nevada. They're in Florida. They're going to face number 24, Miami Central, the team that's already lost to California Power St. John Bosco 35-12 earlier in the season. And that game's going to be on Saturday at the Battle of the Beach events. So a lot of good old boys down in Florida will watch that. Hopefully the game will be okay with the weather. I think the weather's a lot better now than it was last week. The last time the two powers clashed in 2017 is Miami Central won that game by the score of 24-20. So Bishop Gorman's looking for the revenge, all fair and level war. The Gales won the season opener weeks ago, knocking off Hawaii Power St. Louis of Honolulu, Hawaii by the score of 42-21. And the Rockets of Miami Central High School, they look to bounce back after dropping the season opener to number 3 ranked St. John Bosco of Bellflower, California. Again, it was 35-12, and both teams had a bye week. Number 19, South Lake Carroll of South Lake, Texas, was the only team in the top 25 of Big C Sports on action Thursday. Scored the game's final 19 points in the last 15 minutes to pull off a wild 36-35 win over Rockwell Heath. A lot of good old things happening in that. But we look about the country and think about some of the top high school football programs. You know, number 1 is Mater Dei of Santa Ana. They're the best high school football program out there, and everybody has their own opinion about who's number 1 and who's number 2, but it's hard to argue against Mater Dei. 3 of the last 5 national championships have come out of Mater Dei of Southern California. There's some more big games tonight. Number 2, IMG Academy out of Bradenton, Florida. They travel to Ohio for the second straight week. They will face LaSalle High School of Cincinnati. That's tonight. The Ascenders have won 11 games in a row, dating back to 2019, while the Lancers made the Division II state semifinals each of the last 2 years. They won all of it 2 years ago, and it should be a good game coming up. Number 4, Westlake High School of Austin, Texas, puts his 25-game win streak on the line against Ollie Gordon and Trinity Euless in one of the best games in the Lone Star State down in Texas. Number 6, St. Thomas Aquinas of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, had some late changes to his schedule and faces Tampa Bay's Jesuit High School on Friday. That's the night after the originally scheduled game versus Plantation of Florida fell through. The back-to-back 7A state champions started the season with a 38-23 win over number 13, St. Francis High School. It's called St. Francis Academy of Baltimore, Maryland. Is a great power up in the Northeast. Number 11, Center Grove of Greenwood, Indiana at Carmel. Number 3, Corona Centennial, ranked number 23 in the country. They are playing versus Sierra Canyon of Chatsworth. And number 25, Bixby of Oklahoma at Jinx, were all featured in the Big C CIF Prep Game of the Week. Now, number 15, Chandler, Arizona. They're at number 17, St. Joseph Prep of Philadelphia. Both get their season underway. 5-time defending Arizona State champions host Centennial of Peoria on Friday, while the Hawks take on St. Mary's Rankin of Leonardtown, Maryland, at Smalls Athletic Field in York County, Pennsylvania on Saturday. So I'm going to run down for all the high schools all over the country, just Big C's top 10 CIF Prep. Number 1 in the country, Mater Dei of Santa Ana, California, had a big 45-3 beatdown of Texas top team Duncanville, Texas, last week. That game was in Texas. They will play versus Liberty High School of Henderson, Nevada, but that's going to be September 10. Number 2, IMG Academy out of Bradenton, Florida, at LaSalle of Cincinnati. That game's tonight, 7 p.m. And then we're going to go to number 3, St. John Bosco, Bellflower, California, versus Bishop Armada of La Puente, California. That game tonight. You can watch it on the High School Football Network. Number 4, Westlake, Austin, Texas versus Trinity Euless, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. High School Football Network. Number 5, Thompson of Alabaster, Alabama at Tuscaloosa County of North Fork. You can watch that game on the High School Football Network. Number 6, St. Thomas Aquinas of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Them good old boys are playing Tampa Jesuit. Number 7, Collins Hill of Swaley, Georgia versus Greenville Christian of Greenville, Mississippi. That's at 8:30 p.m. kickoff at Milton High School in Georgia. Number 8, Virgin Catholic of Rodale, New Jersey. Them good old boys versus Sylmar of Delaware. That game is going to be taking place Saturday at 2 o'clock p.m. on the High School Football Network. Number 9, just talked about these good old boys, Bishop Gorman, Las Vegas, Nevada. They've won 7 of the last 10 Nevada Law School State Championships. They're a very good program. They're taking on Miami Central, ranked number 4, actually number 24 in the country now after their big loss to St. John Bosco of Bellflower. That game will be Saturday at Paradise Sports Complex in Naples, Florida. And rounding out Big C's top 10 in the national rankings, and everybody has their own opinion about it. De La Salle of Concord, California. They are taking on Monterey Trail of Elk Grove, California. That's tonight. You can watch that live on the High School Football Network. Those are Big C's High School Football Sierra Prep and National Prep Football top 10 rankings. Everybody has their own opinion, but that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So next, what we're going to do is take the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, yes, I'll be back. We're going to talk about some college football. A lot of good old boys kicking off, and especially the big games with Miami, and also they're taking on Alabama. Clemson's taking on Georgia, and UCLA, they're taking on the LSU Tigers down in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, are you ready for some football? I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. You can follow us on Podchaser, Speaker, so many applications. Really do appreciate the way things are going with Big C Sports. Gonna run down. Are you ready for some football? Of course, everybody's ready for some football and college football. Some scores from yesterday. We had Ball State 31, Western Illinois 21. Buffalo 69. Yeah, they scored 69, them good boys, with a 69-7 win over Wagner. Central Florida with a good come-from-behind win over Boise State 36-31. And then the Citadel fell to Coastal Carolina 52-14. UC Davis, the Aggies knocking off the Tulsa Hurricanes is all fair in Leavenworth. That game was down in the South. Also, North Carolina State 45, South Florida 0. Utah out of the Pac-12 40, Weber State 17. Appalachian State 33, East Carolina 19. Minnesota, they fell to the Ohio State Buckeyes 45-31. And then our Cubs with Tennessee with the 38-6 win over Bowling Green from the Mid-Atlantic Conference. One more I'll add in, the Arizona State Sun Devils with a 41-14 win over Southern Utah. All fair in Leavenworth. I know a lot of good old boys looking forward to some college football, and I'm looking forward to some college. I love college football. It makes my palms get sweaty. You ever get sweaty palms? Kind of like being on a first date or learning how to drive. Your palms get sweaty. Or when coach says, "Hey, you're in." All's fair in Leavenworth. We have, in my opinion, a great weekend to kick off college football. The first full weekend of college football when we get to see many of the top teams in action, especially number 1, Alabama taking on Miami, or number 5, Georgia taking on number 3, Clemson. So many great games. We'll take a look at it, get Big C's thoughts. Game already happening tonight. Not going to give out the score. A lot of you good boys already know the score by the time we started the podcast tonight. But you had number 10, North Carolina Tar Heels. They're a 5.5-point favorite over Virginia Tech. And what a crowd. The crowd was going nuts. I guess they're happy to be back in action with all the restrictions we had last year with COVID. But now, a lot of people are back in the stands and having a great time too. So that's a game you can pay attention to. Virginia Tech is 0-9 outright against the spread. When you think about it, the season openers against top 10 opponents. Most recently, they lost 42-24 to number 1 Ohio State. in 2015 among the 6 such games with spreads. I'm going to bring up a couple of big games that I think are going to make sense when you think about it. Phil Longo, in his 3rd season as North Carolina's offensive coordinator after spending 2 seasons at OC and Ole Miss, offensive coordinator to Ole Miss in 2017 and 2018 over the past 4 seasons. He's 19-9. Think about it, 19-9 when his team is favorite. He's 10-7 with North Carolina, 9-2 with Ole Miss. I'm going to take you to a game on Saturday for you good old boys down in the Big 12. I guess ACC won't. I mean, ACC, they have their own issues with Clemson and Georgia coming up. But the SEC will be welcoming in the Oklahoma Sooners, but that's next year. Right now, they're still the Big 12. They take on the Tulane Green Waves at number 2, Oklahoma Sooners. The Oklahoma Sooners are 31-point favorite in that game. When you think about it, the over-under 68.5. It's a noontime kickoff, East Coast time on ABC Sports. Oklahoma has won 8 consecutive games. Against the spread, they're 7-1 since falling out of the AP Top 25 for the first time since October of 2016. Tulane is 16-9 against the spread in the past 2 seasons. Although the Green Wave, they were 4-5 against the spread as an underdog in that span. Think about this, good old boys. The over is 10-4-1 when Oklahoma is favored by at least 27 points under Lincoln Riley since 2017. Another game that's of interest in the Big Ten Conference, the number 19 Penn State Nittany Lions, they take on number 12 Wisconsin. The Badgers are a 5.5-point favorite. If the over-under is 50, that's a noontime kickoff East Coast time on television. Penn State has covered 7 of the past 9 meetings, and they're at 7-2 when you think about it as an underdog, including 4 straight since 2012, and they are 4-0 when you think about that. Penn State started 0-5 against the spread last season before winning its covering its past 5 games. That's a game that Wisconsin most likely will win. I think about it since James Franklin's been there at Penn State. The over is 16-5-3, but Penn State faces ranked opponents under coach James Franklin. I remember they went to the Rose Bowl not too long ago. So we will see how that works out for Wisconsin and also how it works out for Penn State. There's another game that has a lot of interest for Coach Harbaugh, the Michigan Wolverines. They take on the Western Michigan Broncos at the Big House, the Michigan Wolverines. There's 17-point spread, and the 67 over-under for that. Michigan could get that, cover that because they'll have a lopsided win, in my opinion. It's a noontime kickoff, East Coast time on ESPN. Michigan is 7-0 outright against Western Michigan all-time among games with spreads in the database. The Wolverines are 5-0 against the spread, and the Broncos' average spread is a -18, and the under is 4-1 for those games. I really like Michigan to roll big, especially in the first game of the season against an in-state opponent, not necessarily a rival. The under is 17-3 when a Big Ten team is favored by fewer than 20 points. Keep that in mind for you voters out there, you bettors against the MAC opponent in the past 5 seasons. Here's a game on the West Coast. I'm telling you, it might have a little teeth in it because I think last I heard Bulldogs have teeth. In fact, the Ducks, they don't have teeth, they have beaks. This game is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? There's no rumor that Bulldog or Duck is on the Big C Burger, but there might be a lot of feathers flying around in Oregon. Now, this is a game that Oregon should win, but they're also maybe looking ahead to Ohio State. Ohio State had a game just over the other day beating up on Minnesota. Fresno's a real deal. They're not a pushover. I don't think they can beat Oregon, but I also think Oregon, if they get out in front, they're going to try to rest some of their star players and not show their whole hand or their whole feathers because they'll be traveling to face Ohio State the next week. The Oregon Ducks are ranked number 11 in the country. I think that's too low for Oregon. They are a 20-point favorite. The over-under is 64 points. It's a 2 o'clock p.m. kickoff, East Coast time. 2021, Kalen DeBoer's second season as coach for Fresno State. They blew out UConn last week. Think about this. In DeBoer's time with the Bulldogs as offensive coordinator from 2017 to 2018, and as head coach the past 2 seasons, the Bulldogs are 24-9-2 against the spread. And the under is 24-11. Mario Cristobal, he's 5-11-1 against the spread when his team is favored by at least 14 points. They're 3-8-1 in Oregon. Fresno State is 12-4 against the spread as an underdog since 2017. This is a good defensive football team for Fresno. They're also good on offense. The over is 9-1-1 in Oregon season opener since 2010. It should be a good football game on the West Coast up at Austin Stadium in front of a packed house. There'll be a lot of people at that game in Oregon, and you know the crowd will be Dexter Green. We're going to take you to another big game that has a lot of national attention as well. Number 1 defending national champion, Alabama Crimson Tide. They are a 19.5-point favorite. The over-under is 61.5 against number 14, the Miami Hurricanes. It's a 3:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on ABC Sports. Now, Alabama with Nick Saban, they're 11-2 against the spread in season openers. They tend to destroy teams in season openers against FBS opponents under Nick Saban since 2007. Alabama's favorite in its 81st straight game. 81st straight game! When you think about that, that's the longest active streak as a betting favorite in FBS. The next such longest winning streak is BYU, 18 straight, including this week. When you think about it, Alabama's win total is 11.5. The Crimson Tide went under in 2019 for the first time since 2010, 6-2 from 2011 to 2018. Miami's only 3-10 against the spread against the top 2 teams since 1993. Failed to cover 5 straight, falling 9-2 against the spread from 1979 to 1991. That's long ago in a galaxy far, far away. So we have that game. Also another big game that makes a lot of sense to a lot of good old boys. Maybe not as much as some people want it. Miami of Ohio, the Red Hawks at number 8 Cincinnati Bearcats. In my opinion, Cincinnati is a little bit too high. They played Georgia close last year in the bowl game and they lost. The Bearcats are a 22.5-point favorite. The over-under is 50.5. The game is 3:30 p.m. East Coast time kickoff on ESPN. Cincinnati has won 14 straight meetings. They're at 9-5 against the spread, including 3 consecutive covers. So they're a team to be reckoned with. This would be the 6th meeting with the Bearcats favorite by at least 20 points. Cincinnati has 1-4 against the spread in the previous 5 such games. The Red Hawks are 2-10 against the spread in regular season games against non-conference opponents since 2017. I want to bring it to another game in the Big Ten. It really does have Big Ten implications because number 17, Indiana Hoosiers, they were a good team last year. They're at the number 18 Iowa Hawkeyes. You would expect Iowa to cover this game, but not so fast, my friend. Iowa's only a 3-point favorite at home. The over-under is 45. It's a 3:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. But don't be surprised if Indiana goes in there and win. The 3 is not a lot to give for Iowa, especially at home. It's like a field goal game to get a field goal game with that team. Indiana has covered 7 straight games as a road underdog, the second longest active streak in FBS. Oregon State has covered 9 straight. Indiana has covered 7 straight games in conference play. Think about that for your prop bettors. They're tied for the longest active streak in FBS behind, along with Alabama. Iowa has won 6 straight games dating back to last season, and the Hawkeyes are 5-1 against the spread during this streak. So keep that in mind for you bettors. I want to take you to a game that has a lot of people shaking in their boots. And I mean that because number 23, Louisiana Raging Cajuns, they're at number 21, Texas. The Longhorns, that's Texas football. The Burnt Orange, they're trying to lead the Big 12 to go into the SEC, and they're favored by 8 points against the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Not an SEC power. The over-under is 58. It's a 4:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. That game has a lot of national implications. They've covered 8 straight regular season games against opponents outside of the Sun Belt. Keep that in mind for you prop bettors. And Louisiana is 13-5 against the spread in its last 18 road games. Texas only getting in 8 points at home in front of should be over 102,000 down in Texas. That's a great looking stadium. They've renovated it. The big game on the West Coast outside of Oregon and Fresno State, you have Mountain West versus Pac-12. There's another big game in the Coliseum. The San Jose Spartans, the defending Mountain West Conference champions, At number 15, the USC Trojans. With that white horse. This segment sponsored by your Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with all those exotic meats. The great Sam Jackson. I love the USC fight song. The Trojans, ranked number 15 in the country, might be a little low in my opinion. They're a 14-point favorite against the defending Mountain West Conference champion San Jose State Spartans. San Jose State can score some points. They had a big win against Southern Utah, but they have that win under the belt. They expect them to hang tough in the first half, but I think USC has too much muscle. This will be the fewest points the Spartans have given to a top 15 opponent since they were 7.5-point underdogs against number 13 Boise State in October of 2008. It would be the fewest points the Spartans have given on the road to a top 15 team. San Jose State has a good team. San Jose State has covered 7 straight games as an underdog. 7. Again, they're only a 14-point underdog. San Jose State is 12-5-3 against the spread since 2019. Brett Brennan's third season as coach. The Spartans are not going to win this game, but they will try to get that white horse to have a little bit of panic, if that makes any sense. A little hitch in his giddy up. It's not Medina's spirit. That white horse, he's clean. He only eats spinach and oats. It's all fair and level war. There's another big game down south that has big implications for bowl games and conference champions. Number 5 Georgia Bulldogs versus number 3 Clemson Tigers. And the Tigers are a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 51. I think that's low. It's a 7:30 kickoff East Coast time on ABC Sports. Now Clemson is 5-7 against the spread since 2020, following a 20-10 against the spread run from 2018 to 2019. They have a new quarterback at DJ Uiagalelei. Now that first-round NFL draft pick Trevor Lawrence is out, playing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now keep in mind for you bettors, this is a close game. This is as close as a toilet seat cover at a public restroom. Clemson is 15-4 against the spread since 2012, all under the great coach Dabo Swinney. Think about this. In conference championship, playoff, or bowl games, this could be arguably fall under the definition of a bowl game when you think about it, because of 2 dynamic programs in Georgia and also Clemson. Under is 5-0 in Georgia in season openers under Kirby Smart since 2016. The under is 15-5. That's 15-5 in Clemson games played in September in the past 5 seasons. Clemson win total is 11.5 under -135. The Tigers have gone over in 9 straight seasons, including 2020. It's a better delight. It's all fair and love and war. So those are some great games on the Big C Sports College Football NFL. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, I'm going to talk more about some college football. Are you ready for some football? In the words of the great California former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back on the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio Podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. So many apps, and I really do appreciate the way these are going with Big C Sports. Back to the games. Florida Atlantic Owls at number 13. The Florida Gators have been blown out last year by Oklahoma in the bowl game. Now, Florida's a 23.5-point favorite. The over-under is 52. Is a 7:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. And then Florida Atlanta is 9-3 against the spread in its past 12 road games. Florida's 7-2-1 against the spread as a home favorite since 2019. Florida's also 14-6-1 against the spread in its past 21 games as a double-digit favorite. For you sports bettors, keep in mind when it comes to that. I want to take you to another game where a lot of people are feeling that Texas A&M may have a solid season, and maybe they will, but they're not going to win the SEC. The Kent State Golden Flashes at number 6 Texas A&M Aggies. They have a great defense. They're a 28.5-point favorite at Texas A&M down at Kyle Field. The over-under is 67. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff East Coast time on ESPN University. When you think about the great Jimbo Fisher signing that $75 million contract a couple years ago, They are 15-4 against the spread, against non-conference opponents. Last I checked, this is non-conference opponents, including 9-2 against the spread with Texas A&M Aggies. Now the Aggies have covered 6 of their past 7 openers. Kent State is 6-1 against the spread his past 7 games as an underdog. The Golden Flashes, they may be having hot flashes. Anyone know anyone having hot flashes? I hear it can make you a little bit crazy. All fair and level war. Just a rumor. That's how rumors get started. But it's all fair and level war. I want to bring it to another game on the West Coast. This is big versus big. I think it's redemption for Pac-12. The last time an SEC team came into the Rose Bowl, it was Texas A&M, and they got beat by Josh Rosen and the UCLA Bruins under Coach Moore back then. At the Rose Bowl, UCLA pulled out a win. Now there's another SEC team coming into the Rose Bowl. They're going to face the same fate. The number 16 LSU Tigers, they are a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 65. UCLA might get 65 by themselves. Not 65, but they're going to score probably at least 40 points, my opinion. It's an 8:30 p.m. kickoff, East Coast time. LSU is 13-6-1 against the spread in its past 20 games as a favorite. LSU is 6-1 against the spread in home games against non-conference opponents since 2019. This game's at the Rose Bowl. The granddaddy of them all, looking for UCLA under Coach Chip Kelly, that good boy. This football team in UCLA, they should be higher in the rankings, but we have right now what you see a lot of the national bias. I think the national bias will change at the conclusion of this game. UCLA pulled off the Dogs, or pulled off the Bruins, or pulled off the Bears last week when they rolled to a 44-10 win over Hawaii. I know LSU has a good defense, but I don't think they can keep up with the team speed of UCLA. UCLA is very fast defensively. They're very talented offensively, and they got the rust out of their belt last week when they blew out of Hawaii at the Rose Bowl. It's all fair and level war, but it's Pac-12 versus SEC. I think you'll see a changing of the media coverage on how strong each conference is. Number 9, Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. They are 7.5-point favorite at Florida State Seminoles, a 7:30 p.m. East Coast time kickoff on ABC Sports. Now Notre Dame under Coach Kelly, they've covered 5 of his past 6 road games. 5 of the past 6. Florida State has failed to cover 4 straight season openers, since the Seminoles are 5-14-1 against the spread as an underdog in 2017. The Seminoles are 0-6 against the spread in games against non-conference opponents since 2019. Those are the top games in college football. I'm really looking forward to it. I know everybody has their own opinion about what conference plays the best football. We're going to find out soon, because the UCLA and the LSU Tigers, that's Pac-12 versus SEC. And also you have, in my opinion, the Miami ACC versus Alabama SEC. And then you have Clemson of the ACC versus Georgia of the SEC. So some big games right out front. But that Louisiana game against Texas, that's also a big game. A lot of people got to keep an eye on that. I'm looking forward to a lot of good things when it comes to the world of football. I know everybody's hyped about football season, and I'm hyped about it too. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. And now it's time! There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Super Draft Fantasy Sports through Big C Sports. Big C Sports, a lot like FanDuel, is Super Draft Fantasy Sports with Big C Sports Podcast. That'll be joining for a kickoff of the NFL season. Really looking forward to that. And you can clap for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. It lets people all over the world get in on the biggest gaming industry, and that's fantasy draft sports. A lot of people really love fantasy draft, and now Big C Sports, part of Super Draft Fantasy Sports with Big C Sports Podcast. Really looking forward to that, having a lot of fun as things are going in the world of Big C Sports Podcast. Want to just touch on a little bit of what's going on in NFL football. Everybody has their own opinion about it, because we're college football heavy going into this weekend, and also, as the good old boys are Major League Baseball ready, we're going to close out with Major League Baseball. But just like Super Draft, with Big C Sports is fantasy football launching for the kickoff of the 2021 NFL season. There's football and fantasy. A lot of people play fantasy sports. We'll be a part of that too. Dallas Cowboys NFL News quarterback Dak Prescott. He's excited. He's excited to make a return from injuries in Week 1 game versus the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pittsburgh Steelers acquire cornerback Ahkello Witherspoon from Seattle Seahawks. That's news for the NFL. David Patton, 3-time Super Bowl winner in New England, passed away in a motorcycle crash. Really sad to hear that. Thoughts and prayers are with the family. He's only 47 years old. Really thoughts and prayers to his family. I want to turn to the Denver Broncos. They donate bicycles to area youth in honor of former assistant Greg Knapp, who also succumbed to a bicycle accident. Thoughts and prayers are with the Knapp family. He's my quarterback in college. He worked with a lot of NFL quarterbacks over the years. The great Greg Knapp. Thoughts and prayers to his family. New York Jets wide receiver James Crowder tests positive for COVID-19, sources say. And everybody has to keep that in mind. Cam Newton released by the New England Patriots, my opinion, because of positive COVID-19 tests. Everybody has their own opinion about should they get the vaccine or not. I would just say, as my doctor says, science helps. And some people don't believe in science. But you'd rather get science help before you end up in the hospital as opposed to after. Talk to your doctors. It's a personal choice for a lot of people, and I know no one can force anyone to deciding if they're going to get a vaccine or not. And that's just part of the way it goes. I mean, I want to tell everybody, do what you can to get your doctor's advice, because that's going to keep everybody healthy. We're coming up on a great weekend, Labor Day weekend. People are going to be off on Monday. If you're not vaccinated, stay away from large crowds. That's what the doctors are warning. I know we're going to have packed houses all over the country. But it's about personal choice, keeping yourself happy. Don't let people rain on your parade, and do not let anyone break your wings. Take these broken wings. Don't let anyone break your wings. Sometimes people try to break your wings because they just have nothing better to do. Don't let it happen. Do not let it happen. I know there's a lot of good football going on around the country, and I'm looking forward to a lot of good boys that are throwing out pitches in Major League Baseball. Going to be a lot of great baseball played over the weekend. A lot of great college football being played over the weekend. NFL is going to be on pause because they will be kicking off next week after the beautiful Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend is special when you can get through it. Don't let your friends drink and drive. I know that you would think that's an easy thing to say, but people tend to do it too often. Don't let your friends drink and drive. Make sure you get through this holiday weekend. Have fun if you can. Stay away from negative people. Don't let anyone be what's called, gaslighting your situation. Don't let anyone gaslight your situation. Sometimes people try to do that because people drink sometimes through the holidays and things get out of hand. But don't let it happen. Anyone having a great birthday weekend, I want to thank everyone who's having a birthday weekend to have the greatest birthday in the history of the universe. Really appreciate that for a birthday. Everybody's celebrating birthdays. The number one birthday in the history of the universe. It's time for a birthday cake. Birthday cake. Everybody wants some birthday cake. Speaking of birthday cake, Major League Baseball, a beautiful September the 3rd, 2021. We have flying into Washington. The Nationals taking on the New York Mets. Runners on first and third. The count is 4-3-2. The pitch. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Oh, home run! Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep, all fair and love and war. All I can tell you, the great game should be on the hand. Pitching, pay attention to Sean Nolan. Also, at bat, Rich Hill, as well as Chance Sisco. When you hear those names, I can't give out much more detail for my prop bettors because I want my fingers for my birthday cake. In fact, I'm going to have a birthday cake. It's an exotic birthday cake. It comes with exotic frosting. Whatever exotic frosting is, I hope it tastes good. It's all fair and level. We're going to fly out of Washington. Going to fly into New York City. Yes, New York City. Get it, rope. Remember that commercial? Flying into New York City. Really looking forward to that. The Baltimore Orioles will fly into the New York City to take on the New York Yankees. Of course, I said again, I fly into LaGuardia because last time I flew into JFK, somebody took my baggage. And inside the baggage were 12 Big C burgers. They later called me and said, well, Charles, we found your luggage, but there's no rumor that there were 12 Big C burgers inside of it. I said, all I had was the Big C burgers inside the luggage. It's all fair, love, and war. They said, well, we can't confirm or deny that there were ever 12 Big C burgers in the baggage, but there was 12 grease spots. How about that for all fair and love, and war? I hope they enjoyed it. But in New York, pay attention to Baltimore Orioles pitching, the great John Means, and then at bat, pay attention to Anthony Rizzo. Also, Aaron Judge. Those are some names you can hear for your prop betting specialists. What a beautiful Friday it is. A great Friday, and I really look forward to a great weekend for a lot of people all over the great country. Stay away from gaslighters. Don't let anyone gaslight your situation. Going to fly out of New York up to Toronto, Canada. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. I love saying, oh, Canada, our home and native land. We have runners on first and third. The pitch, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friends. The girls love the long ball, and men love the hit deep. Even in Canada, the Oakland A's are in town. Pay attention to the pitching of the great Sean Mania. Also, at bat, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Alejandro Kirk. Keep those names in mind for my prop betting friends. Going to fly out of Canada in the beautiful city of Miami. Bienvenido a Miami, Miami International Airport. They will welcome the city of Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, if you believe that in Philadelphia. The Miami, the Marlins. We have runners on first and third. The count 3-2. The pitch, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. When someone comes spraying, the Tony Montana, when he's saying, say hello to my little friend, believe me, you don't want to get sprayed by his little friends. It's all fair. At level war pitching, Jesus Luzardo. Keep that in mind. Also at bat, Matt Verling, Andrew McCutcheon. Those are names to pay attention to for you prop bettors. Going to fly out of the beautiful city of Miami, Bienvenido a Miami. I'm going to find the Cincinnati, Ohio, the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Detroit Tigers on a great day in Cincinnati. Runners on first and third. The count 3-2. The pitch, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. It's all fair and level world. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. I'm coming around the mountain when she comes. We'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Somebody might try to steal a couple of bases. In this game, a little birdie told me. Speaking of birdies, this game is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meats? All fair and level war. Pay attention to pitching. Vladimir Gutierrez. At bat, Dustin Gamanu. And then Harold Castro. Keep those names in mind when you have the chance for you prop better specialists. That's some news coming out of my friends in Las Vegas, Nevada. Also, Big C Sports, part of Super Pro and Super Draft Pro. It's all fair and level war. Coming to the Big C Sports podcast for the kickoff of the 2021 NFL football season. Super Draft Pro with Big C Sports. You'll see a lot of athletes from Steph Curry, Floyd Money Mayweather. A lot of good old boy athletes are part of the promotion of Super Draft Pro with Big C Sports. Also really proud to be a part of that. And you can find that you'll probably win a lot of games. You can win games and plug into it. The fantasy sports is growing all over this great country. In fact, all over the world. Really excited to be a part of that. They're going to fly into Boston, in Boston Logan International. Cleveland, this is for you. Runners on first and third. The pitch, hit deep, left field, back to the wall, home run. The clean monster. All fair and level worth. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep, especially at Fenway Park. On the mound for Cleveland, Cal Cantrell. Keep in mind of that name. Also at bat, pay attention to Jonathan Aruza, as well as Bobby Dalbec. I'm not going to give you much more information than that because I'm told not to, if that makes sense to you. And I want to have a great birthday weekend. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, Big C Sports. All fair in Leavenworth. What a cheer. They decided to have a holiday for my birthday. I was jumping up and down. I was so happy. I was cheering. Someone said, Charlton, it's Labor Day. All fair and level way. Hey, if you can't beat them, join them. Join the birthday weekend celebration. At least it's on the Lord's Day. How about that, if that makes sense to you? Flying into Tampa, Florida, the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Minnesota Twins. We have runners on first and third. The count is full, 3-2. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep, especially hitting deep down in the Sunshine State. These good boys trying to win the American League East. The Rays are a good team. Pay attention to pitching. Randy Dobnak. Okay, at bat, Brandon Lowe. Also, Max Kepler. Keep those names in mind for your prop betting specialists, as Super Draft will be part of Big C Sports Podcast for the kickoff to the 2021 NFL season. Are you ready for some football? You can do Super Draft, joining the Big C team all over this great country. In fact, all over the world, as we are launching the kickoff of 2021 NFL, just like fantasy sports. In fact, when you pick up football, there's all type of sports betting out there, fantasy football. I'm glad to have Big C Sports to be a part of that with the Big C team, all fair level. We're going to find the Kansas City, Missouri, the Chicago White Sox, the great Tony La Russa, where we have runners on first and second. The count's full, 3-2. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. Pay attention. Pitching, Dallas Keuchel. Keep that in mind. At bat, I don't have the stats on people coming up to bat, but pay attention to that also. For your prop bettors, you go online and find that. I'm going to find the Milwaukee. Man, what a good team, the Milwaukee Brewers. They're taking on the St. Louis Cardinals. What a great stadium, even when they have the dome closed. We have runners on first and third. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep. Sometimes a bunt will get you on base. But hitting deep feels a lot better, as most men can testify. Do women love the long ball? Of course they love the long ball. They love when men hit deep right field, back to the wall, home run. It's all fair and level. You're guaranteed to score when you hit deep and it goes over the field. But keep in mind, pitching Freddie Peralta, hear that name. And then at bat, Dylan Carlson, as well as Nolan Arenado, and then Paul Goldsmith. Those are the only names I can give you. Can't give you much more information on that because I want my free tickets when I go down to Bellagio. And also Caesars, the proud backers of Super Draft, joining with Big C Sports and fantasy football with the Big C team. I really appreciate that. Going to fly into Colorado. No, it's not a 4:20 p.m. start, but the Atlanta Braves fly into Colorado. The Colorado Rockies, they are 43-23 at home. We have runners in first and third. The count's full, 3-2. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. It's all fair and level war. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep, especially in Colorado where the air is light and that ball tends to fly. Pay attention on the mound. Haskar Noah, and at bat, Antonio Santella. Now the Braves are 71-62 overall, 38-30 away. The home team Rockies, they're only 61-73 overall. The home record is 43-23. You make the call on that one. Gonna fly into the beautiful city of Los Angeles, Anaheim, LAX. The Los Angeles Angels, they are 35-32 at home. They bring in the Texas Rangers, who are 16-49 on the season. The great Shohei Ohtani might be more popular than Mickey Mouse over the weekend. Say it ain't so. Runners on first and third. Counts 3-2. The pitch. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball, and men love to hit deep, especially in Los Angeles. So deep, put the ball to sleep, the great Ice Cube. All fair in Leavenworth. On the mound, Glenn Otto, pay attention. But the star of Los Angeles, at least Anaheim, the great Shohei Ohtani, he normally gets a standing ovation whether he's coming up the bat or if he's on the mound. I think he's going to be the player of the year. That's just my opinion. And he has a 3.00 ERA. He's a gunslinger. He's a Jedi Knight trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi long ago. in a galaxy far, far away. Really love what the great Shohei Ohtani does. Gonna fly out of Los Angeles, Anaheim into Arizona. The Diamondbacks taking on the Seattle Mariners. Runners on first and third. The pitch hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. I'm tired of all these Blakey Blake snakes on this Blakey Blake Stadium. The great Sam Jackson. Speaking of the Arizona Diamondbacks, it's just sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger and it comes with what's all this exotic meats. It's all fair and level war. Some people do eat rattlesnake. It's always a good chance to make sure you kill it first. Don't go and try to eat it live. Unlike some things, it tastes better when it's cooked. If that makes sense to you. Some good old boys trying to eat rattlesnake live. Don't do that. Don't do that. But the Diamondbacks are only 28-38 at home. The Mariners are 32-33 away. You know, the Diamondbacks, not a good team. The Mariners are a good team. You make the call. Pay attention on the mound. Tyler Anderson, a 3.18 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger. But I also like Madison Bumgarner for the Diamondbacks. He's a 4.37 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger. And he won all those championships with the San Francisco Giants back in the day. I'm going to bring it to a game that I'm so happy about. There's a lot of good things happening. The Pittsburgh Pirates fly into Chicago O'Hare International. Runners on first and third. The pitch hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. It's all fair and love and war. The girls love the long ball. Especially in Chicago, they love the long ball. And men love to hit deep. On the mound, Shelby Miller. Keep that in mind. Also, on the mound, Trevor McGill. Keep that in mind. I'm not going to give away much more than that. Going to fly out of Chicago down to the beautiful city of San Diego, California. We have runners on first and third. The count is 4-3-2. The pitch hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball. And men love to hit deep. When they're not out there in the ocean surfing in San Diego. What a beautiful city at Petco Park. What a stadium. The away pitcher, Jose Uruguay. Also the home pitcher is the great Jake Arrieta. Jose Uruguay, he's a 3.38 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger. All's fair in love and war. I love the Astros of Dusty Baker. The Astros are 37-30 away. They're 78-55 overall. The Padres are 71-63. And they're 41-29 at home. I like Dusty Baker's team. The Padres, it's got really is down to the Giants and the Dodgers, in my opinion, coming down the month of September. Do you remember on the third day of September? Hey, hey, hey! Party on! Susan to remember. Party down in front. I thought I was listening to another great song. This is Charlie singing again. It's all fair and level war. I do my best. You try singing Party on. It's all fair and level war. But I want to bring your attention. Excuse me, did I break your concentration? The great Sam Jackson, before they shot that guy to get the Big C Burger, and Sam Jackson said, man, this is a tasty burger. What's all this exotic meats? They could have just paid for it. He had all that money that Ben Rames had in that in that suitcase, but they chose not to do it. One of my favorite scenes in Pulp Fiction, when Sam Jackson told that good old boy that tried to steal Ben Rames' suitcase, he said, look into that bag and get my wallet. He said, which one is it? Sam said, the one that says, bad mother, shut your mouth, the great Isaac Hayes. The one that says, mad, blah, 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 blah. Oh, fair and level war. The great Sam Jackson, Pulp Fiction. That's a great movie to watch for the Labor Day weekend, especially if you're trying to go into labor. There's a lot of things that will shock your system in the labor. Reach into that bag and get my wallet. Which one is it? The one that says, bad mother, blah, 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 shut your mouth. I'm talking about Shaft, but you can say it. But I'm telling you, the greatest game, my birthday special. Your birthday special. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Charleston of Big C Sports. All fair in level war. I thank God for a great life. It's all fair in level war. I'm going to take you to the game of the weekend. This series is over by the Bay Bridge in beautiful San Francisco, California. I left my heart. You can clap. In San Francisco, of the dreams I've always loved. When I come home to you, San Francisco, you are the city that I love to love. Don't boo, just sing it. It's all fair, level war. Savannah Ravine in Southern California and McCovey Cove in Northern California. This is all how the West was won. Gunsmoke back in the West. Think about this. The Giants are 85-49. They're tied for the best record in baseball with guess who? The Southern California rivals, LA Dodgers. The Dodgers are 85-49. The Dodgers are 39-26 on the road. The Giants are 43-22 on the road. You make the call. It's gonna be a great series. It's gonna decide the National League West and maybe even who wins the World Series. I mean, I love this series. The home that Barry Bonds built. You want to hit home runs, be the home run king? Tell him, Barry, how you do it? What's all these exotic meats? Yeah, that's too, but eat your spinach. That's how you get big, strong, and fast. And Barry Bonds is living proof. Eat your spinach, you will get bigger and stronger and faster. David Price on the mound for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's 4-2 on the season. He has a 3.88 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger. It's all fair, love, and war. Not so fast, my friend. I said, not so fast, my friend. On the mound for the San Francisco Giants, Anthony DeSclafani. He's 11-6 on the season. He has a 3.38 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger. All fair, love, and war. This is a great series coming up in beautiful downtown San Francisco. I love so much about Big C Sports Podcast. I want to always pay homage to my family, my heritage, starting on my mother's side, called her Mamo, the great Hattie Leach, and then Pop, former Negro League baseball player, and my grandmother, Mud Deer, and my grandfather, Hezekiah. My beautiful mother, Bernice, started a Head Start program in California. Really appreciate everything Mom has done for me. It's Mom's birthday, too. It's all fair, love, and war. On my father's side, I want to thank Albert Curry and Alberta Curry, own service stations in Oakland, as well as a pastor and owns several businesses. And then my father, Eric Curry, retired Air Force pilot and chief mechanic for the United States Air Force. All fair and love and war. And then I want to thank my family and friends. You know, everybody, I hope that you can have a great holiday weekend. Everything is wonderful when you get along with people. Some people don't get along with others because they don't want to. If you have any challenges going on, just pray about it. Put things in writing. All fair and level war. Life is not long enough to deal with strife and people's garbage. Don't want to do that. On my birthday, I say the reason Big C Sports is Espy nominated, and I'm going to close out with this because it's true, because it's real. And when you want to do something, you want the real deal. You want the Big C burger because it comes with all those exotic meats. But I do Big C Sports Podcast on a beautiful birthday weekend for Big C Sports. I welcome to the show. No script, no teleprompter, no director. I'm the director. Number one, I produce all the shows. I produce it on my own from the cockpit of a B-52 bomber. Number two, I direct all topics. Number three, I broadcast the shows. I do it all. Number three, I do all the sound effects. What's all this exotic meats? I love Big C Sports Podcast. Number five, I do the commercials. Here is Johnny. You do it. Number six, I love it so much. I do the stats providing. The Giants and the Dodgers, they got to have me over there doing some stats for them. I'd rather do the play-by-play. I do the storytelling. I quote Bible verses. Excuse me, did I break your concentration? All fair and love and war. I upload every show to 15 podcast platforms throughout the world and 4 TV platforms throughout the world. You make the call. I love saying, like the book in the Bible, one of my favorite books, Genesis 13:15. For all the land that thou seest will I give you. Everyone needs an ark. That $10 million is coming. It's coming, Phil Knight. It's coming around them mountains. When they come, I'm coming home. I'm coming home to see you. It's all fair and love and war of the great Phil Knight, Big C Sports. Super Draft Sports Fantasy Football part of the Big C Sports team starting for the kickoff of 2021 NFL football. The land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. Remember, we have not because we ask not. So ask. You can't control how people treat you. You can only control how you treat them. Don't let anybody ruin your birthday. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man, and he would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? You can't lose. You can't lose with God on your side. As my beautiful mama always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help. Because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As I always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday.